Yeah, I'ma kill you in a second if I have to. Use my mind as a weapon when I blast through. Put the basics in the base.
All right, guys, welcome to episode 9 of the PT Performance Podcast. I've got Richo, I've got Nate. Gents.
Hey, boys.
How are we?
What's going on?
Good. Bit of progress for the group this week. We've made it onto iTunes, so
We've mastered technology.
we're podcast official. Pretty proud moment. We're all a bunch of meatheads, so to navigate that and to get on there is pretty awesome. So if you
Now I just need someone to troll us, and then we'll really be on social media.
yeah. Well, I don't think it's official till you've been trolled, but look, if you're looking to get this on your phone or in your car when you're cruising around, you find us on iTunes now on the PT Performance Podcast. We're still obviously going to be uploading to YouTube and our other social media platforms. Nate, we'll get into the show in just a minute, mate. But where can people find you outside this podcast?
So all of my stuff is at my handle, Trained by Nayte. So Nate with an Nayte, because I am special. That's originally how I started spelling it. I had no idea there was Nate. That made no sense to me. So I threw the Y in, and that's just how it stayed. So Trained by Nayte is where you can find me on all the social platforms. I'm not overly active on Facebook. I am way more on Instagram these days.
Yep. Richo.
On Instagram at Richo_strength and conditioning. I'm on Facebook as well, but same as Nate. And I'm not even that active on Instagram, which is very sad on my behalf. But as we talked about, I'm in a commercial gym and I'm not the prettiest, so I'm never going to get that many followers. So it doesn't really matter.
Oh, stop it.
Don't be like that.
All right. If you want to tune into my rabble, it's at 51_fit on Instagram and just straight up at 51fit on Facebook. So sweet. Moving on, guys. The episode today, let's talk. We've talked about lead gen. We've talked about acquisition of new prospects or new clients. Let's move it forward to the next step. We've made the appointment, or you've made a booking to have your first initial consultation with the prospect. So we're going to break down that process today. I think a lot of people struggle with that, and they kind of either rush through it and don't really take the time during that session or take advantage of it, or others probably waste the opportunity there. So let's break down how to have a successful initial consultation with the prospect that will obviously lead to some, at very least a 6 session with the client and ultimately ongoing sessions. So initial consultation, Nate, take us through the steps.
With your initial setup with, say, meeting someone for the first time, more often than not, you have to set the ground rules for how you want this stuff to go. I mean, if you're in a commercial gym setting, they have the system of how they want this done. And then you have to kind of implement your own little business systems in that. That being said, though, if this is the first time you're meeting to someone, let alone maybe talking to them because you maybe haven't called them or whatever, this is your time to establish not so much rapport that will naturally happen. To me, this is a time to establish standards. I have been very guilty in the past of rushing through this too quickly in terms of the consultation stuff because I just want to get as much practical time as possible. And then what I'm finding at the end of it, at the end of not only that, but maybe a few weeks in down the track when we're training, I'm finding out little tidbits that when I find them out, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense now. Probably would have altered a few things if I knew that in the first place.
Yep.
So asking a lot of questions is obviously very, very important. Being incredibly new, you're going to be very stuttery and lackluster and very hesitant with this process because you don't want to probe. You kind of don't know what you really want to ask for yet. So going in with some kind of structure, whether it be just some headlines and then writing out your own notes, that's what I find works best for me. I don't really have, if I'm having a face-to-face with a client as such, I don't really give them the paper to fill out apart from the where are you injured, where are you fucked up bit. Everything else I kind of keep, and I use that as a prompt and I write all the notes down because really I'm going to get more power out of it because most times it's, what is your goal today? Not be fat, or look good, go to gym.
Just
something really mundane.
Yeah.
So that's where I tend to start with it. We'll delve a little bit deeper. I'll let Richo jump in.
Well, the big thing I was going to say is when you start at gyms, they're always going to have a template. So, and look, the template is just that. You're going to get some PT managers that tell you that is what you say and that is how you say it. And that couldn't be more wrong.
Yep.
Because when you say something that you're not comfortable saying, or the wording's not how you would word it, people pick up on that straight away, and you're going to come straight off as someone who doesn't give a shit and a snake oil salesman.
Yep.
So use it exactly as what it's supposed to be for, which is a template. Reword it to the way that you would say it, and that it feels like it's natural to the way you would say it, and ask the questions you feel comfortable asking. Like Nate can fucking talk to anyone about anything, so he can ask those probing questions. At the start, you might not feel that comfortable, so just ask what you start feeling like you feel comfortable with at the start, and as you get more confident, you'll be able to ask those questions that you're a little bit iffy on at the start, because if you hesitate or you ask it in the wrong way, it's going to come across like that. So, but for me, the initial consult, you're just trying to find out their goals. Why are they here? There's a reason they've started at the gym for the first time, or there's a reason why they've swapped gyms, or there's a reason why they've come back to the gym. Find out what that is. That's pretty much your main objective. Why have they signed back up? Why are they coming in for the first time? There's a reason. No one just wakes up in the morning and goes, you know what, today I'm probably just going to join the gym for fucking shits and giggles. No one does that. There's a reason why they've gone. There's a reason why they've signed up. Find out what that is. That's your main objective at the start. And when you do it in a natural way, in wording that you would use, that's how the rapport is going to start to get built, because they can see that you're genuine in what you're asking. They can see that you're genuine, that you care, and that's how the rapport gets built.
Yep.
Okay? When you ask questions and are worded the way that you would never say, it doesn't feel natural to you, they pick up on that straight away, and they're like, this guy doesn't care. They're never going to open up to you fully either.
Yep.
Nate, back to you.
So the initial consult, find out why they're there. Very straightforward. And don't just accept the first face value answer of, I want to get fit. Because there's got to be some context to this situation, which you're going to need for later on anyway. I often find that the initial consultation now, more often than not, is I have more to get out of it than they do, because they've got really no idea what to expect. So I'm the one who has to really kind of take charge and lead it the way that I want to lead it, in terms of paint the picture that I want to paint, and not leave the conversation till I've got all the information that I need. The initial consultation serves the purpose of pre-qualification, seeing if the person is actually, in a position to use your service, because unfortunately you can't pay your bills on best intentions. So some people actually have to, number one, be able to afford your service. And number two, it kind of has to be a bit within your wheelhouse, and you have to be able to help. Like if it's not something you're comfortable doing, then you kind of got to pass it off to someone who's better served with that goal anyway, if that makes sense.
And like we've talked about in previous episodes, when you do that, that comes back to you. That shows that you actually give a shit about this person and not just your back pocket. Yep. And that builds rapport within the gym, because you go, oh, hey mate, such and such wants this. I know you specialize in that. I'm going to get them to sit down with you. That's how you build the rapport in the gym. And just actually giving a shit about the person and what they're wanting is going to help you with everything else.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what it comes down to, man. When you're in front of that person, you've got to find out, like, why are they there? What motivated them? Like you guys said before, no one just rocks up and goes, today I'm joining the gym. Well, some people might, but generally they don't, right? So a couple of the things that I'd be suggesting is you want to ask the kind of questions that get them talking, rather than a checklist. Like you guys said, you can have the flow of what you're trying to establish or what information you're trying to get from the session. If it's scripted, it sounds like rubbish, but you can't just have an endless conversation. So you've got to be asking the right questions so that they can answer, so that you're the right person for the job. What do you like? What don't you like? Why are you here? But whatever the questions you roll with, the biggest question I like to ask is why, after they answer. So what are you here for? I need to lose weight. Oh yeah, why? They'll answer their question from that. Okay, so why is that important to you? Right, okay. Now, and you know what I mean? Like, by the time you ask why 2 or 3 times, then you'll get to the actual real reason they're there for. First answer will be what they think you've got to say or answer. Second one, they'll give it a bit more thought. Third one, it's probably the main reason why they came there. You know what? Fuck. The doctor said I've got to come here because this, and this is the main reason why I'm here. Rather than I'm just here to tone up or lose some weight.
Yeah, you can't do a lot on the first answer. It doesn't really give you a lot to build off. You can't really see the direction of where you're going to help. For those people who aren't used to sitting in a position of having to ask someone questions and delve a bit deeper, have that piece of paper, because you're going to need the workbook. workflow. Like you're going to need it. You can't run this stuff off in your head. The more stuff that I start adding, the more I start to build on these pieces of paper. I've gone from extravagant checklists to even bigger checklists to really minimal.
Yep.
And I'm starting to build it out again. And it's going to ever adapting and ever flowing.
Yeah. And as your training vocabulary, so to speak, or your resources improve and increase, then that checklist doesn't need to be as big anymore, because with this particular question, you can get this group of responses, and then you know how to take it from there. So basically, it's an evolving project. Yeah. So ask the questions, ask why again. Okay. So you want to establish what it is that they're really trying to get out of it, because you want to give them what they're after in the first place, and also know whether or not you are the right person to do that. Some other questions.
Exactly.
The other questions I like to include, and again, this comes with practice and building the rapport, for want of a better term, is you want to start asking questions through general conversation that will address prospective or potential hurdles or objections down the track. Cool. Oh, cool. So you've told me why. You've asked why. So listen, let me ask you a couple of quick questions. Do your friends or partner, did your family or your partner support this journey? Do they know you're here? Do they know you kind of train and that this is what you're trying to do? Yep. Cool. So, okay. Partners on board, family members on board, or not. Need to know this thing. Man, I think I'm one that you address the objections early, man, because why would you spend all this time on a consult, maybe a couple of sessions in, then they turn around and say, got to speak to someone. Actually, I'm about to move. You know what I mean? You want to try and establish or figure out those objections early. Don't mean you have to solve them early. You just got to know what you're working with.
Okay. All right. I get you. I'm with you. Yeah. The partner one can definitely be a thing. In my experience, the partner thing hasn't really come up too much for me. Like as I need to
that with anything,
ask my partner or whatever. Normally I'm dealing with people who have partner problems.
Yeah.
But the partner isn't exactly the main reason as to why they can or cannot get started.
No, sweet. We'll exchange that for work, money, time, kids, school.
Yeah. Okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm getting you.
So and the more consults you do and the more people you see, the more objections you'll encounter, but you'll find out that there's pretty much the same handful of objections most people will use. And if you're able to navigate those, to identify them, isolate them, and then gives you an opportunity to overcome them so that you don't have to deal with it down the track.
Yeah, I fully concur with you. I concur with you on that part, and the whole sales thing leave for another time. Let's just keep tarnishing through. Richo, have you got specific topics that you start to cover besides goals and stuff? Is there any information you specifically want, you like?
One of the things I say to people at the start, which helps them open up a lot to me, and again, it's what you feel comfortable, what feels natural to you. One of the big things I say to them is I say, look, help me help you. The more you're honest with me, the more you tell me, the more open you are, the more I can help you. Like if you go to the doctor's and you've got 5 symptoms and you only tell the doctor one of them, how the fuck can he help you?
Yep.
He can't. So I just sort of pre-phrase people like that when we sit down, and sometimes a bit of before I just go, look, I'm here, at the end of the day, I'm here to help you. This is how I like to run it. The more open and honest you are with me, the better chance I have to help you with what you want to achieve. The more you close off, the more you only tell me one of those 5 symptoms, the harder it is for me to help you. And at the end of the day, that's all I want to do. Mm-hmm. So I find when I do that at the start, that helps people unload a lot more, because a lot of times people don't think of it like that. But when you explain it like that, they go, oh shit, yeah, he just always want to help me. The more actually I tell him, the more it will help him help me.
Yep. And I think that's an important
one of the things
mindset to be in. I think that's an important mindset to be in, Richo, is you've got to sit down. You can't rush it. I know a lot of PTs go, this is the 15 to 20 minute chat I have to have before I can actually get them out on the gym floor. But I think if you slow everything down and take it like a legitimate consultation to get to know this person and how you can actually prescribe your services to them, so I wouldn't even put them two together with a prac session, unless you really have to. I'd go, this is what this session is.
I don't anymore.
Session's always only consultation.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't anymore. And this was reinforced by Richo a lot. Like seeing him out, he was always really, really good at his consults, and I was really poor. So he set a really good standard that for the rest of us had to raise to.
Good.
So, I mean, that comes back to the standards of this. I mean, you should ideally be in some context speaking to the people beforehand to confirm the time and kind of maybe even get some layered information, text, call, whatever.
Yep. Like a preset.
They've got to know what they're walking into.
For sure.
Like they've got most people. Like I want as much practical time as possible. I get that, but I can't now do that without a few roadblocks that I see because I need a broader picture painted.
Yep.
Because in my head, I can now go, all right, if that's this and all of this is this, then this is how I would do this for you moving through.
Yep.
So they can see that all the factors get taken into account.
Yeah, absolutely. And to take it back. Sorry.
Exactly. That's the big thing is it shows that you're actually taking on board and actually listening to them. And it's not a cookie cutter session that you're just going to take them through. It's not just on the fly. You go, look, the only reason we're not getting in a session today is because I need to take all the information that we've gone through today, figure out what's going to work best for you. And that I can't do that in a minute in my head. I need time to think about that. I'm going to write something up for you. And when you come in on our next session, we're going to get straight into the session that I've designed specifically for you to get the best of what you're after. And then I take them for a full session that's specifically for them.
Yep.
And that's where they see the value. But obviously we'll talk about sales another time. But if it's not tailored to them, everything you're doing at the start is setting you up to be able to show them the value that you can provide for them and how you can help them. And if you don't have enough information, you can't do your best job on the next 2 sessions with them, or next session, or however many you're going to give them after that to try and get them on board for you to help them. But if you don't ask enough questions, you don't get enough information. It's just a fucking cookie cutter workout you're going to take them through.
Yep. That
anyone with a set 3 could do it for them.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about some of the topic before we move on. Some of the topics we actually do in these sessions, like that'll be beneficial for some new PTs. Actually, give it some, some structure. Richo, have you got
get a pen and paper out?
And then I'll add mine.
For me, guys, one of the big ones is nutrition. So I want to find out their nutritional history. So have they yo-yo dieted? Has their weight fluctuated? What's their history with their nutrition? To me, that's such a huge one. That's such a huge one because, as we all know, that's where 80-90% of our results come from. So if they're not getting that right, then they're not going to see the results. And I don't want to see people yo-yo for the rest of their lives either. So finding out a bit of their background and their history on nutrition, and that's one of the biggest ones for me. Then obviously I go to training. Obviously it comes down into the why, but then I go into the specific training. So a lot of the times sports guys are training like bodybuilders, wondering why they're getting injuries. You know what I mean? It's just...
Wait, don't badmouth bodybuilders, bro.
Mate, you went for one run this morning and now you think you're an athlete. Okay, settle down.
I am an athlete.
Settle down, pal.
Just watch yourself before I fucking hurdle over there and fly kick you in the head with my new skills.
But are you an athlete if you're not sponsored, Nate?
Oh, I will be sponsored next week. Are you done so I can interrupt you?
Yeah, I'm done. You keep talking.
So, Richo, so you do a lot of nutrition stuff questions. My biggest area now, and has become more predominant over the last few years, is lifestyle stuff. I care far more about the stuff that's going on in the rest of the day than I do actually about anything else. And often it'll lead into the nutrition stuff, but I'll let you have that one. So I like to look at things like sleep. How are you sleeping? Are you waking up? How do you sleep? Like, are you in the same bed as your partner? Are you by yourself? I like to look at things like stress. What's your work like? When you get to work, how long does it take you? And start delving and building these little topics as we go through. Start to really paint a picture of their entire life. What's your partner like? Have you got kids? This, that, the other. What do they do on the weekends? All of that stuff matters far more to me right now than the training and stuff does, because I'm just trying to assess how I start this. Am I in a position where I've got a good foundation to work off? Or is this person actually so stressed and fucked up in a ball that if I put them through something that's like an actual fat loss circuit that you'd see like most trainers do, I'm just going to add to that and I'm going to crumble them.
Yep. Good call.
So I want to know all of those things. So we're asking a lot of the stuff that you're thinking already, but delve a little bit deeper. Sit there and think about questions. And if you come up with ones you haven't asked before, write them down so you can add them in.
Yep. I think that's good, man, because you got to know what you're working with in the first place, because for all intents and purposes, this is a stranger. You might have had a text message. You might have had a brief phone call. Shit, you might have even had them complete some sort of pre-question. It doesn't matter. It's still the first time you're getting to know them. You don't know what their background is. So likewise with that, with asking about their lifestyle and digging into that, asking about their nutrition. Now, just quickly on the nutrition, considering we're still aiming this at the first timers, 12 month into their first 12 months, guys. I'm pretty sure Richo's not saying break down their nutritional profile down to. It's just like general stuff, right, Richo? Like, how's your food?
Yeah.
Like?
Well, obviously, us PTs aren't allowed to give dietary.
Got to go on with that point. Yeah.
Without the proper qualifications or insurance, no, you are not.
And that's my point. Is we're talking third fours that are just in the game. So it's general information. Yeah. How's your food?
Yeah.
Are you a pig?
And it's just,
do you eat enough?
Yeah.
Do you not eat enough?
Yeah. And just finding it. And there's so many tools for that, like using my fitness pal. And because I'll tell you what, everyone's going to tell you what they think you want to hear.
Yep.
If you ask someone what's your nutrition like, if they say pretty good, it's shit.
Then you ask more questions.
If they say it's average, it's worse than shit. Because whatever they say is their nutrition is, take -10 from that. That's what it really is on a scale of 1 to 10. That's what it really is. So it's just making them more aware of that and just finding out where they've gone wrong in the past and why, like we said, like why they switched gyms, why are they getting back into the gym.
Yep.
A lot of it comes from
motivation to why
they dieted. They did an 8-week challenge. They dieted. They did really well for the 8 weeks. They lost all the weight, but to them, in their head and their mindset, it was only an 8-week challenge. So of course, what happens? Then they eat all the shit they couldn't eat for 8 weeks, and then they get bigger than when they started, and then they go, fuck this. Then they give up for 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, and that's why they're sitting in front of you again. So it's just putting a bit of context behind where they're at, how many times have they done this yo-yo thing, just making them aware of those sorts of things.
So we've got nutrition and background. We've got lifestyle factors contributing to where they're at and why they're there. Experience. What kind of training have they done in the past? What did they like? What didn't they enjoy? The purpose for this new journey. Like, why are they doing this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the purpose for the training, because like I said, if they're coming in for you and like they're a bit bigger and they want to drop weight as well, but at the end of the day, they want to be fighting in the UFC, then you're not going to put them through a bodybuilder workout. So obviously you've got to find out sort of how they've been training, or if they're always injured. You go, well, you're training to be a fighter and you're training like a bodybuilder.
Yeah, that's find out their experience, what they've done in the past.
You wonder why your shoulder keeps popping out. Funny that your chest is stronger than your back. But that's one of them. Nate, back to you. Because you always have.
I love how you said
Richo's pulling the reins back there. I can see him getting off on a rant, but he's like, "Nah, gotta pull it back. Pull it back."
You're on red. Speaking of, if you're on YouTube, how red am I? What's wrong with my face? Okay, so what are we talking?
That run this morning.
That run 11 hours ago, and I'm still dead. So I like to take into account the experience they've had, but I will say with this, I don't give a fuck what you think you've done before. Oh, I used to do this and I used to do that. Shut up, mate. No, you didn't, because you're sitting here in front of me. You're a mess. Shut the fuck up. Like, I have a very authority approach to this. It's not like I'm the boss, you're the student, you'll listen. But it's I am confident in my abilities and what I can do to help someone, but you've got to allow me to help you. This is why I need this information.
Sure.
That's the way I approach it.
It's about like when Nate's talking about delving into their lifestyle more and asking those sorts of questions. Again, that's why I sort of preface with the more you tell me, the more I can help you, because it sets up for you to lead into those questions and then not to be that sort of bit funny or that bit standoffish about some of those questions. Because like we said, sometimes this is the first time you're seeing this person face to face ever in your life, ever. Yep. So to ask those sorts of questions to a stranger can be pretty. So that's why I preface them with that analogy of the doctor and only telling 1 out of 5 symptoms. So they know that anything you're asking is only to try and benefit them. It's not just because you're being a nosy motherfucker. Yeah,
and once you've had that chat, like you said at the start, Richo, you've essentially got the permission to dig a bit deeper and have that conversation. Yeah. Some other questions worth asking is along the lifestyle related ones that Nate touched on earlier is things like, what are you doing for work? You understand? Like, so are they sedentary? Are they active? Are they stressed? Are they not stressed? That's the obvious reason for asking. Thoughts on, do you guys get much benefit or much information out of asking what they do for a living or for works?
It's everything. It's to me, it's everything.
Good.
Because for me, everything is now like the further you go into this, the more you want to go down the rabbit hole. So everything for me now is about biological reasoning. What you tell me what's happening with you, you tell me the symptoms, and I can not guess because I'm not a doctor, but I can at least in my own hypothesis assume as to what's going on.
Yep.
Or you'll tell me this is happening and this is the cascade of result we're getting. Well, this is probably what's happening internally, and this is what I have to go ahead and fix.
So let me just pause it there for a second. You're a Cert 4. You've been in the industry a month to a year, give or take. Where do they go to get this kind of knowledge from? I mean, a lot of it's experience on the tools, but where else can they go to learn this stuff?
A lot of it is just a general thirst for the actual, I don't know enough, I want to know more. Starting with things like what is energy? How is energy made? You can go ahead and look at all of this stuff on Wikipedia if you want. You can go on YouTube and search it all up.
Yep.
You don't have to sit there and profess to be an expert, because I definitely am not, but it gives you more clarity when you're hearing the same stuff all the time and you want to know why. This is really helping.
I guess it goes what we've talked about in the past, that you need to be an expert in your specialized field or your niche, but you still have to at least know the basics of most of the other stuff so you can at least form some opinion and have a conversation about it.
Look, I can probably walk up to 20 trainers in a gym and almost 90% of them aren't going to be able to tell me what a Krebs cycle is. If you can't tell me what a Krebs cycle is, we're in a lot of trouble.
That's fair call, man.
That's just as an example. You don't have to tell me about like the phasic pathways and when fructose comes into it and like all that stuff. I don't need to know all that from you. But you can't even tell me what the process is that creates energy in the system.
Yep.
You can't tell me about what's good or what's bad when you don't even know that. Like you got to know something.
And you're right about what you said before. It's about having that thirst. It's about going, I've got my P plates. I need to know more. I want to know more, because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to be the professional that I want to be.
You're always going to, as a personal trainer, you're always going to have your P plates. I don't care how smart you are. There is a certain level of scope that you can't cross.
Sure.
This is for your own knowledge to know, that gives you more clarity and confidence in the things you're recommending someone. So when things don't work, you can hypothesize as to why. Your answer isn't just you're not following the diet or training hard enough. Fucking,
which sounds funny, but we hear that a lot.
You hear it a lot. Like it's not just a matter of, do more and eat less. Because if it was, we'd all be Michelle Bridges and I'd be talking to you on Wi-Fi in my Lamborghini. So if I had Michelle Bridges money, I'd have a Lambo. I'd have 3 Lambos for no reason other than I have 3.
What color would they be?
All outrageous colors. You have to go outrageous colors with supercars. So I'd go a green one. I'd probably go a pink one because I'm a little bit fruity because I like my pastel colors. And I'd probably go, I reckon you'd have to go neutral and go like a black.
I guess you got to have something for Friday night.
No, that's the pink one.
All right. So let's get this back on track. So we've asked a couple of topics, obviously to get to know the individual and how we can formulate a plan moving forward. Yep. How much information do you want to gain from this initial consultation? I mean, we've spoken about. Sorry, guys. Screen just jumped up something else on me. So we talked about the actual sessions are probably another episode, I would imagine, based on how much we're getting out of this one so far. But your intention of the consultation is what okay, we've established we want to get to know them. We want to get to know a little bit about their motivation to be here, their lifestyle factors, their basic nutrition, all this sort of stuff. Is there anything else, Richo, that you try to elicit or try to get from this initial consultation?
One of the questions I asked them is, I said, what are you looking to gain out of this from me?
Good.
So I allow them to answer it, because sometimes it'll surprise you what they come back with.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I agree.
That's okay. A lot of time. Was that?
I've never asked that, really. Like, what do you want out of it? What do you want out of this? I just assume that what the goal is what they want.
Yeah. So that's one of my questions is, so what do you want out of this, and what are you wanting to get out of this from me?
That's great.
And then that obviously helps me plan with obviously what I'm going to do with them, because they're telling me what they want me to do for them.
And it reaffirms what the whole fucking thing is about. You helping them.
Yeah.
It's not, hey,
Yeah.
great, thanks for giving me all this information. This is what I'm going to do for you. It's no. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And, you know, from the information you've already gathered, you'll know, you know, be able to hypothesize or figure out for yourself, be able to go, right, that's what they're saying, but based on all the information they've got me, let's roll with that. But I think there's more to this.
Yeah.
And you can ask why. Why do you want that from me?
Nate, anything else?
Nah, I reckon we're pretty good. I reckon that covers a lot. Going with some basic questions. Expect to build on them, but don't end the thing until you either run out of time or until you're satisfied. Because we've all done that and cut it short, and we have no ammo.
And
none.
And that's the thing. Sorry, go on.
One other thing I want to say is never, ever get through an initial consult and make up your mind on whether they can afford or are going to do training with you.
100%.
That is the biggest thing. If you ask them questions and they turn around and say, oh, I'm a uni student and this and that, don't just go, uni students got no money, fuck you. When's the fucking consult end? I'm out.
Man, I couldn't agree more on that, dude. The amount of times I've experienced myself and had other PTs go, yeah, okay, I'll do the consult, and then they turn around and they've picked up a client from it, because you don't know what their end game is. You don't know what's really motivating them to be there. If someone wants something bad enough, they'll find a way to make it happen.
And this, look, again, everyone has their own thing. I never sell on the first session. Some people do. That's not my thing. But again, as much as you're pre-qualifying them, you're showing them that you want to help them. And the amount of times where, like, once you show them that you give a shit, and then you take them for that next session that's designed for them, and they see what you can do for them, even if they didn't have money to afford you on that first session, by the time they get to you the second or third time, they're going to have found it. Yeah. So you just writing them off and treating them like, fuck, can't wait for this then, because I know they don't have the money to do it. You're going to potentially lose a client out of it.
And let's
never assume what someone can afford or whether someone's going to continue with you or anything like that. Just always, the more, like we talk about, just don't be a shit human. Yeah. Just try and help a person to the best of their ability. And at the end of the day, you'll be able to find out whether, and then from that, it tells you as well whether you're delivering good service, because a lot of the times it's because they didn't see value in what you provided for them as to why they can't afford it. Yeah. They can afford it, but they can't see the value in what you gave them. So if you just halfway through, you give up on them because you're like, oh, fuck, they're a uni student. You don't ask enough questions. You don't ask the right questions. You can't give them the session that they see value in. Then you know what? You sold yourself out of that 100%. From when you fucking gave up halfway through your first initial consult.
And really new,
I think because of their job or because of what they do or because of their circumstances, they won't see value in what you do and want to get your help in some form or another. Never write someone off.
And look, for some of the people that have maybe just tuned into the last couple of episodes or maybe haven't listened to them all, one, you're a loser. You should listen to all our episodes back to back without a break. But second of all, let's qualify this a little bit. Richo, how many, what would be your rough, what would be an estimate? Maybe, hopefully you even know the accurate number, but of consultations and kickstarts and this thing where you do one or two complimentary sessions, how many do you convert?
So at the moment, I'm about 85%.
Yeah. All right, so there's a fair bit of authority coming from your tips, Nate.
Who? What? With
Nate,
Rich,
like roughly how many of your consultations, via this commercial gym setup where they're usually a Kickstarter or a free consult, would you convert?
I'm probably normally about 5 out of 10, to be honest. I'm not normally anywhere near as many as Richo. Some of the leads that I do get, I'm purely getting because I might be the only one with availability. And for example, I've got a guy coming in on Friday. He lives in Perth, but I'm going to take him through something just because he needs help with his deadlift. And if I can impact and help him, it's going to take me 15 minutes. I can coach a deadlift completely fine. And it's not going to turn into anything. It's just helping a guy out. Yeah. Like sometimes some of those sessions are exactly like that.
He could turn into an online client.
Exactly.
You never know. He could. But like, if he asked me how much is it, I'm like, dude, it's not going to take me that long. Don't sweat it. Let's just do it.
Keep in mind, a lot of the people that are going to listen and take value from these episodes would be very fucking happy with 3 in 10. And I'm not saying aim for that, but I'm saying that's probably a realistic number in most commercial gym settings. 3 in 10 consults that convert. for reasonably new trainer on the scene?
I am 100% sure.
When I started, I was 1 in 10.
Yep.
Fuck, 100% 1 in 10. Because I didn't, again, like what we're talking about here, this is all stuff that we've learned as the time goes on. But at the start, I was following the script.
Yep.
And most of the time it didn't work because I sounded like a snake oil salesman because I'm reading it in wording that I would never use.
Oh, really?
So people pick up on that straight away. Once I started... I
was going to repeat an old script, but you guys get the message.
You'll all have I guarantee you, whatever fucking script your PT manager gave you, every motherfucker in Australia has that exact same script.
Well, it all came from the same place back in the early 2000s, didn't it? Impact Sales Training.
Yeah. They all got the same fucking script. So, it takes time, it takes experience to get to that. Again, what we're doing here is we're just trying to help you not make the mistakes that we made or learn from them quicker than we did.
Yep.
That's all we're trying to do with this podcast is help you guys not make the same mistakes that we did. And that's the mistake I made at the start when I was 1 out of 10 was I was following a script that didn't sound authentic at all. And people pick up on that. They're like, hey, this guy really doesn't want to help me.
Yep.
He's just the sales to put more money in his pocket. He doesn't care because I did care, but the way I was wording my questions came across like I didn't.
Yeah.
So even changing something as simple as that can change the way people perceive you and go from there. Even that will take your numbers up.
Absolutely. So have a structured plan rather than a scripted delivery.
Yeah.
Yep. Ask questions.
Yeah, like the script is it's just that it's a template to go off. Look, some of those templates have great questions and great things on them, but reword them to the way that you would say it. And there's be something like, oh, fuck, I wouldn't ask that. Don't fucking ask it.
Yeah.
If you are reading the template and you go, fuck, I wouldn't say that, or fuck, I wouldn't ask that question, then fucking don't. Because I guarantee you that's the one that fucks you up because you're like, snake oil salesman. He doesn't really want to help me. He's reading from a
script. Sweet. Topics to ask. So we'll just quickly summarize the episode so far. So structured plan rather than a scripted delivery. Be authentic. Let them know that you do care. You are there to help, and you're there to do what they need. To combine what with what they need to move forward. You're going to ask them some base questions on their nutrition and dietary intake. You're going to dig a little bit deeper into their lifestyle and what's motivating them to be there. What are some outside influences or outside factors that may influence their performance with you during the sessions? Find out what time suits so that you can make sure that they're going to adhere to whatever work and program you put in, and then also make sure that you are the right person for them. And if you're not, make the introduction to the next trainer you feel might be better suited. Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds solid.
Solid, guys. All right. Well, I think we're pretty good to wrap up on that. Reminder, guys, we're on iTunes now. Social media. You can find me at 51_fit on Instagram or 51fit on Facebook. Richo, your Instagram?
Richo_strength and conditioning.
Yep. And Nate, where are you at?
Trained by Nate, but we really need reviews. Because when I search PT Performance, Tim Ferriss's fucking podcast has come up, and he hasn't done that for about a decade and a half. So we need reviews to get to the top of our little thing. So if you get some value from the episode, go in, give us some stars. If you give us anything less than 5, I will kill you because I guarantee I'll find where you live, and that we need to get to the top. That's all I'll say.
And the first 100 or so, we probably actually did know who you are. So, give us some love.
Oh, 100% I know who you are. If you review me, mum, and don't give me 5 stars, you are not.
Mother's Day was last week, so you don't need these stars.
Oh, I was in Melbourne. Maybe it's payback.
Yeah. Also, look, you're probably watching this on YouTube if you're not hearing it on the iTunes. So same deal. Subscribe, like, put some love onto there, guys. We're trying to get this out to more people, not just our friends and family that just love us because we're who we are. We want others to get some real value and some content from this. And if we can help a handful of people improve, the industry itself improves. The more wins you get earlier in your career, the more time you have to really develop into a much better rounded fitness professional moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah,
so if you even took one thing away from this episode, please just tell one friend for us. Just tell one friend who you think could get at least one thing out of this episode or any of our previous episodes. Just tell one friend about it. That's all we ask.
Solid, guys. Love your work, boys.
All right, boys. Thank you very much.
See you guys next
Talk to you
week.
boys soon. See you guys.